The following video was captured by an explorer who went to visit the historic Brinksway Tunnels, a vast underground network built in 1938 as air raid shelters during World War II, designed to protect thousands of civilians from German bombing raids. At the time, families would rush down into these tunnels during sirens, carrying children, blankets, and whatever belongings they could grab, waiting in the cold darkness while explosions echoed above them. The tunnels became a place of fear, anxiety, and survival, filled with the sounds of distant destruction and the uncertainty of whether those sheltering inside would still have homes to return to. And many believe places that absorb that much fear never truly let it go. While he was inside the tunnel, something caught his attention. Watch.
What the f*** is that? Hello? Hello?
As he slowly walked forward, his camera scanning the narrow corridor ahead, he suddenly froze, because just beyond the corner, there appeared to be a silhouette standing deeper in the tunnel. At first, he tried to convince himself it was nothing, maybe just a trick of the light, or his mind reacting to the oppressive atmosphere of the underground space, but he couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was standing there watching him. Determined to find a logical explanation, he moved closer to the exact spot where the silhouette had appeared. Watch.
Can't help myself. Turn around and check. Right, I can hear him. Yeah, it's gone this way. I've got all these other bunks and stuff here. Mate, I've just been down there, right? I've walked all the way down, and no joke, I thought I see the silhouette, right? So I started panicking, so I was like, you know what, I'm not going to go any further. I was just like, I'm going to...
We were just talking about how eerie it is down here.
I couldn't even hear you.
I didn't tell anyone else before. When you two were ahead of me, I turned around with the camera because I swear to God I heard someone behind me. I turned around with the camera and I was like, that's weird.
See, that's funny, because when I walked this corner, I thought there was like a rat or something in that corner, and I looked twice.
Weird.
Just little noises.
Yeah, literally.
As he continued exploring, he eventually encountered other explorers inside the tunnel, and their reactions made the situation even more unsettling, because they too had experienced strange things, unexplained noises, movement where there was no one, and the overwhelming sensation of being followed through the darkness. Some believe it could be another person hiding in the tunnels, possibly someone living down there, or trying to scare visitors. But that explanation becomes harder to accept when you consider how isolated and silent the tunnels are, and how quickly the silhouette disappeared without any visible exit. Others believe it could be something far older. Places like these, which once sheltered thousands during moments of extreme fear and desperation, are often associated with residual hauntings, where the emotional imprint of those who once waited there replays itself over and over like a shadow trapped in time. So was it just another explorer hiding in the darkness, or did he briefly capture something that never left those tunnels? I'll leave you to decide. This next video was recorded by Josh, another paranormal investigator, and his team, who spent 2 nights investigating the childhood church of Jim Jones in Lynn, a quiet town that still carries the weight of a dark and disturbing legacy. Long before he became the infamous leader of the People's Temple, Jim Jones attended this very church as a boy, walking its halls, sitting in its pews, and developing the beliefs that would later influence one of the most tragic cult events in history. What makes this location especially unsettling is the idea that everything started here. The team, consisting of 3 brothers, Josh, Rocky, and Sean, entered the church hoping to understand why it is considered haunted and whether something connected to Jim Jones still lingered there.
Coffin. Where's the coffin at? Dude, when you look out to the darkness, you just picture, it feels like 100 people out in the darkness just staring at you. It is so freaking cold down here. Who is the man that stays down here?
Slam.
Slam. I dare you to slam something.
Why?
Because I want to hear you. If you do loud stuff, that lets me know you're in here.
Purgatory.
Purgatory. Are you stuck in purgatory? You remember Jim Jones being here at this church?
Do not.
You don't? We know Jim Jones came here for many years as a child, and then he moved on and became a reverend at different churches. And then they did some very bad things.
Jim.
Whoa! Holy. Okay, that was loud. Holy crap. Okay, I'm gonna move back here. Something so freaking loud.
As they moved deeper into the church, with over 1,000 people watching the investigation live, something was caught on camera. Watch.
I feel like if we're gonna catch something, it's gonna be in the basement.
Well, I think we need to go up to the attic. Or it'd be better if I just filmed the screen. Like if they're just watching the screen, that I won't need this light on. What do you think?
Within seconds, viewers watching the live stream began flooding the chat with warnings, pointing out a strange figure that appeared in the stairwell. What makes this moment so disturbing is that in earlier footage, the stairwell was completely empty. Nothing was there that could explain the sudden appearance of this figure. So is it possible that something connected to Jim Jones still exists there? Some paranormal researchers believe that spirits are often drawn to places that shaped them the most, locations tied to their identity, their emotions, and their transformation. This church wasn't just a random building in his life. It was where his path began, where his beliefs were formed, and where he first began developing the influence he would later have over so many people. For now, this remains a mystery. Now, in this next video, some explorers decided to investigate an abandoned military hangar that had been active from World War II all the way through the 1990s, a place that once held aircraft, personnel, and decades of military operations, but had since been left to decay in silence. Buildings like this often carry layers of history, and while they expected to find dust, rust, and forgotten equipment, they did not expect to find something watching them. From the moment they stepped inside, they began hearing strange noises echoing through the massive, empty structure. At first, they tried to rationalize it, blaming it on the wind forcing its way through broken panels or loose metal shifting under its own weight. Then, this happened. Watch.
Shit, man.
Did it even get through here? Look at this fucking.
Holy shit, bro. There's no way. Whatever that. Listen.
It's just thunder.
That thunder, but what was that? There's no...
In the footage, a strange figure can be seen watching them from a distance, but when they reached the exact spot where the figure had been standing, there was nothing. No person, no animal, and no place for someone to hide or escape in that short amount of time. Some believe this could be what investigators call a shadow person, entities often reported in abandoned locations, especially places tied to intense emotional energy, trauma, or prolonged human activity. Others believe this could have been the spirit of someone who once worked there, possibly a soldier or personnel who spent years inside those walls, whose presence never truly left, continuing to patrol the same grounds long after the base was abandoned. The way this figure remained at a distance, concealed in shadow, and vanished the moment they approached, makes some wonder if they were being watched the entire time. In the following video, a man shares the unusual and deeply unsettling thing that's been happening inside his apartment. Something he had tried to explain to friends and family for months, but no one truly believed him. According to him, the activity didn't start immediately after he moved in. At first, the apartment felt normal, quiet, uneventful, but that slowly began to change after he learned something disturbing about the person who had lived there before him. He was told that the previous tenant had lived alone for many years, rarely had visitors, and eventually passed away inside the apartment. The details were unclear, but neighbors said it took days before anyone realized he was gone, and ever since then, some residents claimed the apartment never felt the same. At the time, he didn't think much of it, until small things started happening. Coins he clearly remembered placing in one spot would appear somewhere else. Jars would slightly shift positions, and sometimes he would hear faint metallic tapping sounds late at night, like something lightly striking glass. When he told people, they called him crazy. So one day, he decided to set up his camera, hoping to finally prove that something was happening. Watch.
Hey guys, this coin, amazing. People aren't believing what's happening in this house. I've left this all night and all I've heard is it rattling inside. Now, I want you to witness what I'm going through here, because maybe if you just see for yourself, innit? This is what I'm dealing with. Are you angry because you're dead? What are you angry about? Is that it? Why are you with me? Why are you around me? What do you want? Knock the glass over. Is that it? I'm doing it all night, come on. Take a break. What do you want? Guys, are you seeing it? Whoa. How is that possible? Come on, it's in a jar. At least it didn't reply to me. Cheers for that. Thank you. I am shit.
Some believe this could be the former tenant attempting to communicate, using the coin as a way to show his presence, especially since spirits are often said to manipulate small objects that require less energy. Coins, in particular, are commonly reported in paranormal encounters, sometimes seen as a symbolic attempt to get attention, almost like knocking, but in a way that cannot be mistaken for coincidence. Others believe it could be something more territorial, something that does not recognize the man as the rightful occupant. If the previous tenant spent years living there alone, forming a deep attachment to the space, some theories suggest his spirit may still see the apartment as his, reacting with agitation to the presence of someone new. But there is an even darker possibility. Paranormal researchers warn that entities capable of moving objects with that level of force may not be harmless at all. What begins with small manipulations, coins, jars, subtle disturbances can sometimes escalate, becoming more aggressive over time, especially if whatever is present grows stronger or more aware of the person living there. The violent nature of the coin's movement, the persistence, the intensity, makes some wonder if this wasn't simply an attempt to communicate, but a warning. Until more updates are shared, this unsettling case remains unsolved. This next video was recorded just a few days after Christmas, a time usually filled with warmth, celebration, and families enjoying the quiet calm that follows the holidays. On this particular day, the parents were out, leaving the kids home alone, something they were already used to. The house was peaceful, quiet in the way it normally is after the excitement of Christmas morning has passed. Wrapping papers cleared away, decorations still hanging, and new gifts settling into their places around the home. But at some point, the eldest son began hearing a strange sound coming from the kitchen. Confused and uneasy, he walked toward the kitchen to see what was causing it, and what he found made him immediately call his siblings to come and look. Watch.
Alright, you guys gotta see this cabinet. It's been moving, and oh my, you see? It's been moving open and shut by itself for 30 minutes now.
Holy shit, do you see that?
Dude, see, that's stripped down, man. I don't even know if I want to stay the night here tonight. Hey, Marco, I don't think I'm staying the night, dog.
And I don't think I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna stay up until that stops.
No visible cause, and no draft strong enough to explain that kind of repeated movement. What makes this even more unsettling is that, according to the family, they had never experienced anything strange in the house before this day, which is why many people immediately connected this incident to the timing, the Christmas season itself. Across many cultures and paranormal beliefs, the holiday season is thought to be a time when the boundary between the living and the dead becomes thinner, a time filled with emotional energy, memory, tradition, and reflection. Some believe this energy can attract spirits, especially those connected to family, longing, or unfinished presents. Others say spirits may be drawn to homes during this season simply because of the warmth, the light, and the life inside. But it's also possible that something was unknowingly brought into the home during the holidays, like an old gift, a second-hand decoration, or an antique item. Objects can sometimes carry attachments, especially items with unknown histories. Something as simple as a thrifted ornament, an old toy, or even furniture could potentially bring more than memories with it. But what do you think? Now, this next clip was captured around 3 a.m., a time long associated with unexplained activity, when a man suddenly woke up after hearing strange noises coming from outside his home. At first, the sounds were faint and unclear, like distant movement or low murmuring that didn't belong to anything familiar. Still half asleep, but deeply unsettled, he turned his attention toward the window, trying to figure out what could possibly be making those sounds at that hour. But when he looked outside, it wasn't just the noises that caught his attention. He saw something else. Watch closely.
Estoy escuchando ruidos afuera. Son 3:30 de la mañana. Voy a no sé si sale. Ahí está, hija de puta, de vuelta. Es ella. Yo no te voy a tener miedo. Hoy no te tengo miedo. No tengo miedo. Date vuelta. Date vuelta. Date vuelta. Date vuelta. Date vuelta. ¿Dónde estás?
A figure in white passes directly by his window. Whether this was a real person or something else entirely, both possibilities are deeply unsettling. Because if it was a person, that raises even more disturbing questions. Why would someone be silently walking around his property at 3 a.m.? Why dressed in white? And why disappear so quickly without leaving any trace? But what makes this encounter even more disturbing is that this wasn't the first time. According to him, there had been other nights when he saw figures outside, sometimes dressed in black, appearing briefly and then vanishing. And on certain occasions, the entire neighborhood would erupt with the sound of dogs barking all at once, as if reacting to something moving among them that humans couldn't fully see. Interestingly, there were also nights when the dogs didn't bark at all. So until more footage emerges, this disturbing encounter remains a mystery. In the following video is about a man named Aaron, whose life changed after he received terrible news from the police about the neighbor living directly beneath him. And if you've been following Aaron's story, you already know his apartment hasn't felt normal for a very long time. In the previous videos we shared, he attempted a spiritual cleansing ritual that ended badly, and many people questioned whether he had done it correctly, which is why this time he decided to try again, hoping to finally free his home from whatever seemed to be lingering there. For those unfamiliar with Aaron's story, everything began with a smell. For weeks he complained about a foul stench rising through his apartment floors, a thick, sickening odor that no amount of cleaning, ventilation, or searching could explain. And eventually, the horrifying truth was revealed. His neighbor had passed away inside his apartment, and his body had remained there undiscovered for weeks. By the time authorities found him, the damage had already been done. The hallway was sanitized, the apartment sealed, and on the surface, everything appeared resolved. But inside Aaron's apartment, things only got worse. Desperate for peace, Aaron decided to perform another cleansing ritual. Watch.
I'll be doing the red dragon blood sage to help me get rid of the spirit I have here. But first, I'm going to be placing this egg here in the center of the room. I'll place it right there. Come back. Okay. Here we go. So if there's a demon in here, you are not welcome. You have to leave. You're not welcome. Still smoking. It's barely lit. You know, people don't think that you're real. People actually think that you don't exist, but I want to show them. So show yourself. Don't be scared. Show yourself. Come out. Okay. Something's definitely showing itself. But it's okay because I got the sage and this. It's barely lit, but it's okay. It's still lit. I'm okay. I'm kind of scared to go around this corner. See. Here we go. Okay. I'm actually gonna turn on this light. Right now, I kind of don't want to turn around. Okay. Well, if you're here, you have to leave. Or do something to this egg. Do something to this egg. Move it. Maybe it left out the window or something. Okay, let's go do the egg so I can leave my apartment. Okay, here's the egg. Nothing wrong with the egg, see? It's regular. First off, let me show you my hand. There's nothing on my hand. Nothing. I want to get out of here. Okay, here you go. And again, I don't know why.
According to Aaron, instead of things improving, the sage seemed to make the activity worse, and most people saw it coming. In many spiritual traditions, eggs are believed to absorb negative energy when used in cleansing rituals, acting as a vessel that pulls harmful forces away from a person or environment. But there is one rule that practitioners strongly emphasize. Once the egg absorbs that energy, it must never be opened inside the home. It must be buried outside, far from where you live, because burying it symbolically traps whatever it has absorbed within the earth, sealing it away and preventing it from returning. But Aaron cracked the egg inside his apartment, and according to certain beliefs, that single mistake may have undone everything. So for now, we can only hope things get better. Clowns have always been creepy, even when they are not doing anything at all, and this CCTV clip does absolutely nothing to help their case. The camera was set up facing a clown mannequin sitting upright on a sofa, its painted smile frozen and eyes staring forward in that way that already feels wrong before anything even happens. The house was empty at the time, no pets, no people, nothing that should have caused movement. For a while, the footage shows nothing but stillness until the mannequin's right arm slowly begins to slide off the armrest. It does not drop or flop the way gravity would make it. Instead, it moves sideways in a controlled, steady motion, lowering until it comes to rest against the side of the clown's body. What makes it even more unsettling is where it stops. The hand ends up positioned right next to the clown's hat, almost like it was deliberately reaching for it. No vibrations, no one-off camera, no visible reason for the movement at all. After the arm settles, nothing else moves for the rest of the recording, leaving the mannequin frozen once again, just in a slightly different pose than before. The owner later said they noticed the arm had changed position when reviewing the footage, and immediately removed the mannequin from the house, because apparently there are limits to what people are willing to coexist with, and a clown adjusting itself when no one is around is one of them. Two friends named Stevie and Ron were filming a light-hearted moment in their living room when something took a sharp turn into the unsettling. They had the camera pointed at their two rabbits on the floor, laughing as Stevie teased one of them by dangling a floppy carrot just inches from its face. The mood was relaxed and wholesome, the kind of clip you'd expect to end with nothing more than a rabbit chewing contentedly.
You don't want that shit.
Do you hear something outside?
Yeah, where's it coming from? There's something like
crouching down there.
Yeah, could you get the light? Yeah. What is back there? Where did it go? Did you see where it went?
Smart. I don't know. I thought it ran down the alley.
Did you see which way?
Yeah. I don't see anything.
The black rabbit suddenly lunges forward and headbutts the carrot, snapping the end clean off as both Stevie and Ron burst out laughing. But their laughter cuts short almost immediately when they both pause and look toward a window off camera. They mention hearing a noise from outside, even though nothing is picked up clearly on the audio. As Stevie slowly pans the camera toward the glass, something strange comes into view. Just beyond the window, low to the ground, there's a dark shape crouched in a way that doesn't look like any animal they can recognize. It's still for a second, like it knows it's being watched. Ron knocks on the window to scare it off, and instantly, the shape bolts away at an unnatural speed. The two rush outside to check, filming the empty yard and surrounding area, but there's nothing there at all. No footsteps, no animals, no sign anything had been crouching there moments earlier. What started as a harmless rabbit video ended with both of them convinced they'd just seen something that wasn't supposed to be there. Lean is standing just a few feet away from a door that won't stop being knocked on, the sound coming fast and aggressive like something on the other side is desperate to get in. The camera shakes slightly as the door itself begins to rattle in its frame, each knock making it flex more than it should.
Son 3 de la mañana. Hace rato que no escuchaba esto ahí. Ya estoy con mucho menos miedo que antes. Ahora lo afronto más rápido. Esto no sé, la verdad que voy a ver. Voy a tratar de grabar de acá. Carajo. Miren lo alto que es. No lo puedo creer. No, sos hijo de puta. Que me miran, hijo de puta. ¿Quién sos, hijo de puta? ¿Quién sos? No hay nadie abajo, no hay nada. Es increíble. No, es increíble. No puedo creer que no haya nadie.
After a few tense seconds, the door suddenly cracks open on its own. Lean steps to the side, angling the camera so it now captures the bathroom behind it. That's when something even more disturbing appears. Above the shower curtain, a dark, head-shaped shadow starts moving back and forth, clearly visible against the lighter wall. Lean lowers the camera deliberately to show the floor beneath the curtain, proving there are no legs, no feet, nothing standing there. The shadow keeps shifting anyway. Fighting panic, he reaches forward and yanks the curtain back. The shower is completely empty. No one inside. No place for anything to hide. The knocking has stopped. the shadow is gone, and the bathroom is silent. Whatever was at that door moments earlier vanished the second he confronted it. Daniel works graveyard shifts at a hospital, the kind of quiet hours where every sound feels louder than it should. And he says that for weeks, one specific door has been opening and closing on its own during his rounds. At first, he blamed air pressure or faulty hinges because that is what a rational adult does before accepting nightmare logic. But it kept happening in the same way, at the same time, night after night. Eventually, he got tired of explaining it away and decided to record.
This door keeps on opening and closing. Like, there's nobody here. I'm not doing the sensor, but it keeps on opening and closing. And I'm alone. I'm alone.
The camera shows an empty corridor, lights humming softly, when the door at the end slowly begins to move. It opens with a long, dragged-out creak, inch by inch, as if someone unseen is carefully pulling it toward them. Daniel stays completely silent, clearly not wanting to interrupt whatever is happening. After a few seconds, the door stops. Then, just as unnervingly, it starts to close again, reversing the motion at the same slow, deliberate pace until it settles back into place. There is no rush of air, no footsteps, no shadow passing by. Daniel later explained this was exactly how it always happened. Never slamming, never sudden, almost controlled. Hospital staff checked the area the next morning and found nothing wrong with the door at all. Since then, Daniel says he avoids that corridor whenever he can, because whatever is opening that door seems to know exactly when he is there. Roy's footage starts already in chaos, the kind that makes your stomach tighten before anything even happens. The camera is shaking as he runs into a room, slams the door shut behind him, and locks it while breathing heavily, clearly panicked by something chasing him through the apartment. Whatever scared him enough to run is still out there. Almost immediately, slow knocking begins on the door he just locked, each knock spaced out and deliberate, like whoever or whatever is on the other side knows he is listening. Then the pace changes. The knocks speed up, growing louder and more aggressive, until it sounds like the door is being tested. After a long pause, Roy finally works up the courage to open it. As the door creaks open, the camera reveals something even stranger. Inside the room is another closed door, facing him directly. Before he can react, that second door suddenly swings open on its own, fast and forceful, as if someone yanked it from the other side. The clip cuts immediately after. Roy later explained that this was the final straw for him. Since then, the activity has only escalated, and he is actively trying to move out of the apartment, convinced whatever is there does not want him staying any longer. Hannah is walking through a building that's completely silent, the kind of silence that feels wrong rather than peaceful. From the layout and the tiny furniture scattered around, it looks like an abandoned daycare. She keeps the camera steady as she moves down the hallway, aware that no one else is supposed to be there with her. As she steps into one of the rooms, the camera settles on a small doll sitting upright on a child-sized chair in the corner. It looks harmless at first, just another forgotten toy left behind. But then, without anyone touching it, the doll shifts. Its body tilts slightly, adjusting its position on the chair as if it just moved on its own. Hannah gasps and instinctively steps back, quickly panning the camera to show there's no string, no one nearby, nothing that could have caused it. The rest of the room is empty, and the building remains dead silent. She doesn't stay long after that. Later, Hannah explained that she left the building immediately and refused to go back inside alone. Whatever was still playing in that daycare clearly wasn't ready to be left behind. Aidan starts recording after days of unexplained activity in his home, convinced that whatever's been happening isn't just his imagination anymore. He keeps the camera steady, focused on a cabinet in his kitchen that he claims has been causing problems on its own.
I feel some paranormal activity going on. There it is. Paranormal activity. I knew it.
At first, nothing happens, and the room is completely silent. Then, without warning, the left side of the cabinet slowly pulls open by itself. There's no one near it, no visible force, and no sudden movement of air that could explain it. Aidan reacts instantly, informing the audience as he keeps the camera trained on the cabinet, half expecting it to move again. It doesn't. The door just hangs there, wide open, like it was deliberately left that way. After the clip, Aidan explained that this wasn't the first time things like this had happened, but it was the first time he managed to catch it on camera. Since then, he says the activity has been getting more frequent, and he's now convinced there's something in his house that knows exactly when it's being watched. This next clip comes from Ian, a familiar face for anyone who's followed Midwest ghost hunting for a while. He's back in the same abandoned factory he's explored before, a place already known for making people uneasy. At this point in the investigation, Ian is walking alone through a deeper section of the building, clearly worn down, but still pushing forward. He briefly discovers what looks like an old elevator shaft, but doesn't linger long because he says the area instantly makes him feel dizzy and disoriented, like the air itself is off. He moves away and ends up wandering into a bizarre, maze-like section of the factory, with narrow pathways and hanging sheets of torn material that force him to physically push through just to keep going.
Elevator shaft. God. Imagine falling down that. Hell no, I can't even look at stuff like that. I get woozy. Oh, whoa. This looks like a freaky maze. Do I dare go in here? Ah, screw it. Why not? Oh, jeez. Oh my gosh, that thunder. It almost sounded like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. What the f? Dude, the f***ing strobe lights are on. Get me out of here, get me out of here. I can't f***ing see. Dude, what the hell was that about? Those freaking things just came on by themselves. Who just turned those lights on? Oh my god, I about fainted when that freaking happened. I wonder if maybe they're motion censored. Maybe they just detected my motion and turned on. Oh god, I don't want to go back in there, but gotta test it out. Oh, my goodness, it's getting tangled. Oh, the lights aren't going off. What the hell? What's going on? These things should be going off. Look, I'm already on the other side now. Oh man, oh. Yeah, like I'm moving all around in here. And there's nothing. They aren't going off. If you're still in here, could you trigger the lights?
As he makes his way through, the strobe lights in the area suddenly switch on by themselves, flashing violently and lighting up the maze in short, disorienting bursts. Ian immediately reacts, confused and unsettled, assuming they must be motion activated. To test it, he backs out and retraces his steps, deliberately walking the same path again. But this time, nothing happens. The lights stay completely off, no matter how much he moves. That's when it really sinks in that whatever triggered them before wasn't just motion. The randomness of it, combined with the oppressive layout of the factory, makes this one of the most unsettling moments of his entire investigation, and it's clear the building wasn't done messing with him yet. Grace was home alone when she decided to start filming a door in her house, after feeling like something was watching her from the hallway. The house was completely quiet. No TV, no music, no open windows, which only made the tension worse. She keeps the camera steady, half joking but clearly nervous, waiting to see if anything happens at all.
Oh my god, what is happening? Can't move it again. Oh shit, oh shit, oh my god. Oh dear, oh dear, oh my, oh god. Can you close it please? Okay.
After a few seconds, the door slowly cracks open on its own before gently pulling itself shut again. Grace gasps and immediately tells whatever it is to do it again, her voice shaking as she backs up slightly. This time, the response is far more unsettling. The door begins to open much wider, nearly 3/4 of the way, inch by inch, as if something unseen is standing on the other side, carefully pushing it open. It pauses for a moment, almost like it's aware of her watching, then slowly closes itself once more. There's no rush of air, no footsteps, no explanation. After the clip ends, Grace said she left the room immediately and didn't go back down that hallway for the rest of the night. She later admitted this was the first time something in her house seemed to directly respond to her voice, and that realization scared her more than the door moving on its own. In this next clip, Leighton and 2 of his friends were just messing around outside, filming casually while throwing a bouncy ball back and forth. It's light-hearted at first, nothing serious at all, until one of them accidentally loses control of the ball and it rolls off out of view. The friend who dropped it jogs over to grab it while Leighton keeps the camera pointed in that direction.
The camera ready?
Yeah, dude, I got the camera, alright?
I'm gonna knock the ball out of that guy's hand.
Alright, go.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
What? Oh shit, what the hell?
As the kid turns the corner to retrieve the ball, something completely unexpected happens. Out of nowhere, what looks like a human hand suddenly reaches out from around the corner and touches him. It's quick, but clear enough to see, fingers brushing against his arm before instantly pulling back out of sight. The kid jumps in shock and stumbles backward, yelling as Leighton instinctively rushes forward with the camera. He whips around the corner where the hand came from, expecting to see someone hiding there, but there's nothing. No one standing there. No place anyone could have ducked into fast enough. The area is completely empty. The moment was so sudden and so physical that it left all 3 of them panicking, trying to figure out how a hand could appear without a body attached to it. Whatever touched him wasn't visible for more than a split second, but it was real enough to send them all running moments later. In the following video, Tim, a night security guard who's worked at the same building for years, finally decides to start recording after insisting the place has always felt off. He mentions that strange things usually happen during power outages, and unfortunately for him, this night was no exception.
Hello?
As he films one of the mannequins standing motionless in the dark hallway, faint noises suddenly echo behind him. Tim turns around, shining his flashlight just in time to catch something truly unsettling. An uncanny, human-shaped figure is seen in the darkness, its arms stretched out unnaturally, and its face completely swallowed by shadow. The moment Tim calls out hello, trying to make sense of what he's seeing, the figure silently slides backward and disappears into the pitch black. He quickly swings the flashlight toward where it stood, but there's nothing there at all. No doors, no hiding spots, just empty space. As if that wasn't enough, another noise comes from behind him, back near the mannequin he was filming moments earlier. Tim slowly walks back toward it, clearly shaken, and without warning, he punches the mannequin. The blackout, the figure, and the timing make this one of the creepiest encounters he's ever recorded, and it's hard to argue that something wasn't watching him that night. Smith had been completely alone in the house when they first heard something weird, a clear voice calling their name from downstairs. At first they ignored it, telling themselves it was just their imagination, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Eventually, they grabbed their phone and started recording before heading down to see what was going on.
I'm sick of this shit now.
The camera shows them entering the kitchen first, slowly panning around to prove everything looks normal. The lights are on, nothing is broken, nothing out of place. Still uneasy, they walk into the living room and sit down, trying to calm themselves and listen. That's when it happens. A few loud bangs echo through the house, close enough to make them jump. Instinctively, they rush back into the kitchen, filming the entire way. When they step inside, the scene has completely changed. The fridge door is wide open, even though it was clearly closed moments earlier, and one of the kitchen chairs is now sitting up on the counter. balanced in a way that makes no sense. Smith stops dead, breathing heavy, clearly realizing this wasn't just a noise or a trick of the mind. Whatever called their name had followed them downstairs, and it wanted to be noticed. Back in the living room, Smith keeps the camera aimed at a teddy bear, clearly shaken, but determined to document whatever is happening next. The room is quiet again, almost too quiet, and he slowly pans across the furniture, trying to show nothing has changed since the kitchen incident. That's when the camera settles on a teddy bear standing by the TV, dressed in a small Batman outfit, something that had been there for years without ever moving. As he watches, the bear begins to shift on its own, not falling suddenly, but slowly tipping forward, inch by inch, as if an unseen hand is pushing it. Smith gasps and steps back, in disbelief, as the bear leans further and further. The clip cuts just before it hits the floor, but the movement is unmistakable, deliberate, and controlled. After everything that already happened downstairs, this felt like confirmation that whatever was in the house wasn't done yet, and was now moving things right in front of him. The basement is the most likely place in a house to be haunted, and after what happened the night before, Smith was already on edge when things started again the very next day. He starts filming as loud, heavy banging echoes from the basement door, each knock slow and deliberate, like someone was trying to be let in. The camera stays fixed on the door as the banging continues, filling the hallway with a deep, hollow sound. Smith takes a shaky breath and glances away for just a few seconds, clearly debating whether to leave or keep watching. In that brief moment when the camera isn't on it, the basement door suddenly swings open on its own, slowly but completely, revealing the dark stairwell below. There's no rush of air, no one on the other side, just an open doorway leading straight down into darkness. Smith freezes, stunned, then steps closer to show there's nothing behind the door and nothing forcing it open. After the fridge incident, the chair on the counter, and the teddy bear moving on its own, this felt like escalation. Whatever was in the house wasn't just making noise anymore. It was opening doors, almost inviting him to come closer. This one takes place in a house David and his wife already believe is haunted, and that detail matters because she has known about it for a long time, while David still treats it like something he can face head-on. One night they hear rapid banging coming from the attic, sharp and aggressive enough that it immediately feels intentional rather than structural noise. David grabs the tool meant to open it and pulls the ladder down, and as soon as it drops, the sound changes into what feels like stomping above them. Heavy movement pacing back and forth until it suddenly stops. David decides to climb up anyway, trying to stay calm, but right as he reaches the top, another loud bang hits, and the attic erupts with scattered noises all around him.
Então é assim, eu estou a filmar, eu estou farta de ouvir barulhos. Já há alguns dias que ando a ouvir barulhos e não consigo nunca perceber de onde é que eles vêm. Eu estou-me a passar porque eu não consigo dormir, eu estou cheia de medo e eu decidi hoje filmar isto porque eu tenho a certeza que se passa alguma coisa e se acontecer alguma coisa vai ficar gravado. Opa! Oh Nuno! Eu estou... Calma. Desculpa. Opa! Porquê que abriste isso? Opa, ainda por cima não foste tu que apagaste a luz. Desculpa. O que vais fazer? Tu vais lá acima sozinho. Eu vou lá contigo. Opa, tenha cuidado. Opa! 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 Não, tu não vais lá sozinho. Ai. Opa, olha, vai lá tu, toma. Toma, eu fico aqui, desculpa, não consigo, desculpa. Desculpa, eu estou cheia de medo, a sério, vai lá tu, mas tem cuidado, está bem? Olha aí, olha que estás a ouvir.
Espera.
Tem cuidado, vai falando comigo, falas.
Está-se bem.
Fala.
Calma. Estás bem?
Não vá lá, está tudo escuro aqui abaixo, despacha-te.
Não vejo nada. Aqui me parece. Estás bem aí, Joana? Caralho, se que é isto mesmo? Não, nada, está tudo bem, está tudo bem.
Estás bem?
Estou bem.
Olha, esquece.
É?
Chamamos a polícia, esquece, não para baixo.
Chamamos nada à polícia. Não se vê nada aqui, meu.
Não para baixo, esquece, fica de uma coisa, anda lá. Anda lá, eu estou aqui à tua espera, eu vou ter que a descer.
O que é aquilo? Espera. Espera aí.
Não vais?
Não. Estou, cara.
Anda lá, vá. Pronto, eu estou para ninguém, anda lá. Anda lá, por favor, eu tenho que dar aqui sozinha, anda lá. Eu vou ajudar a descer, anda lá. Anda lá, anda. Eu ajudo. Espera aí, cuidado. Anda. Espera aí, eu ajudo a descer. O que é que tu viste? Olha, mas fecha isso, fecha isso, mas não viste alguma coisa? O que é que tem acontecido? Vamos chamar a polícia. Isto não é normal, eu ando a ouvir isto há dias.
His wife hands the camera to him so he can film while he looks around, and even though the sounds continue, he cannot see anything unusual at first. Then a bag sitting beside a stack of boxes behind him begins to shake, something we do not see but clearly hear, and the movement startles him enough that he spins around and immediately starts climbing back down. As he reaches the bottom, an uncanny figure briefly peeks down from the attic opening before hiding again, completely unnoticed by either of them as David shuts the attic door and the house falls quiet. A man named Roger was using a public restroom when something genuinely unsettling happened in the middle of an otherwise normal moment. He had just flushed the toilet and was getting ready to leave when he suddenly heard the sound of a stall door opening and then closing somewhere nearby. Thinking someone else had walked in, he listened for footsteps, but there were none. That's when he pulled out his phone and started recording. He lowers the camera toward the bottom of the cubicle wall, trying to catch movement beneath the stalls, but the restroom looks completely empty. No shoes, no shadows, nothing at all. Still uneasy, Roger decides to step out of the cubicle to check the door directly. As soon as he turns the corner and points the camera at it, the stall door violently slams shut on its own, echoing through the restroom. Roger yelps in shock and immediately runs out, clearly terrified. There was no one else inside, no breeze, no automatic mechanism that could explain it. Whatever opened and closed that door waited until he was right there to make itself known. Derek is exploring an abandoned house sitting alone on top of a hill, completely isolated from everything else around it. For reasons that aren't exactly clear, he chose to go inside by himself, recording as he moves through the decaying rooms and empty hallways. The place looks unstable, quiet in a way that makes every small sound feel louder than it should. Then he pauses, convinced he hears someone or something inside with him, a noise that doesn't sound like the building settling.
Hermaphrodite. Oh man, this is fun. Dude, I think I hear somebody. I think I hear something. Oh shit. Out. I'm out. Oh shit. An asshole right there. I literally ate shit coming down that hall.
Suddenly, a massive bang erupts from somewhere inside the house, loud enough to shake him out of any doubt. He immediately turns and sprints out of the building as fast as he possibly can, not stopping until he's outside and putting distance between himself and the structure. He only begins to calm down once he reaches his motorcycle, and without wasting another second, he starts it and rides away, leaving whatever made that noise behind in the house on the hill. In the following video, Jose is inside a reportedly haunted hospital at 6:40 in the morning, a time when the building should be completely still. As he records, distinctive movement sounds can be heard coming from deeper within the structure, not random creaks, but steady noises, like something shifting or walking. He stops to listen, and the sounds suddenly cut off, leaving a heavy silence in their place.
Shit, madre.
He slowly pans his camera toward a corridor ahead, and a white wisp-like shape crosses from one side to the other, before a door at the end of the hallway slams shut with force. The moment is clear on camera, the movement too defined to brush off as dust or light, and there's no visible reason for the door to move. With no wind and no one else inside, it feels less like coincidence and more like a presence making itself known. Jose doesn't stay much longer after that, choosing to leave the hospital soon after capturing the footage. In this clip, a man named Diaz is recording from the window of his home in Mexico after hearing strange screams echoing through his neighborhood. The sounds are loud and drawn out, almost like an animal in distress, but there's something off about them, something that doesn't match any normal wildlife people are used to hearing. He scans the street and nearby areas with his camera, clearly confused, trying to locate the source.
Dios mío. Dios mío, santo. Mami, algo le está pasando al muchacho, gorda. ¿Escuchas? Vamos a ver. Oh no.
Despite the volume of the screams, there's nothing visible outside. No animals running, no people, no movement at all. The neighborhood looks completely still, which only makes the noise feel more unnatural. Diaz keeps recording, unsure if what he's hearing has a normal explanation or if it's something far stranger, echoing through the night. Later on, Diaz is walking through the neighborhood at night, still unsettled by the screams, when he hears something even more disturbing coming from a particular house. This time, it sounds like a man in pain, his voice strained and emotional, echoing out into the street. Diaz moves closer, circling the house cautiously as the noise continues. There's shouting now, loud pounding sounds, and at one point what clearly sounds like glass shattering from inside.
Dios santo. Vecino. You okay? No. 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 Dios te bendiga. No. ¿Necesitas ayuda? ¿Necesitas ayuda? Dios te bendiga. Vengo en el nombre de Jesús. En el nombre de Jesús. Vengo en el nombre de Jesús. Dios te libre. Dios te guarde, vecino. Dios te guarde. Dios te guarde. Jesús de Nazaret. Jesús. Jesús.
He looks through a window and can see someone inside, visibly angry and distressed, moving erratically as if arguing with Diaz through the window, which indicates they know one another. The behavior feels intense and unnatural, leading some viewers to wonder if it could be some kind of possession rather than a normal argument. Diaz keeps speaking calmly from outside, trying to soothe the situation with his voice, repeatedly saying the name Jesus until the chaos inside seems to settle, leaving the house quiet once again. He later finds himself inside his own house for once, still recording with the tension from earlier events clearly weighing on him as the atmosphere feels heavy and silent. Out of nowhere, a firm knocking sound hits the door he is facing, loud enough to echo through the space and make him freeze in place. It happens again, deliberate and controlled, not like something falling or shifting naturally.
Gente, son las 2 de la mañana, me intentaron abrir la puerta, bueno, la tocaron primero y la intentaron como abrir. Luego pues yo me fui al cuarto de las niñas. A ver, ahí está otra vez. Vean, pero vean que no es nadie. Son las 2 de la mañana. Exactamente. Vean. No es nadie. Y ese güey que... Pinche gato feo, ya te había visto yo por aquí. La sangre de Cristo te reprenda. Mari, tráeme la sal. Tráeme la sal, Mari, tráeme la sal, corre.
Diaz quickly moves, circling through the house to check the front window to see if someone could have caused it. But outside there is nothing that makes sense. No people, no movement, no sign of anyone walking away. The only thing visible is a single cat sitting still and staring directly toward him through the window. It does not move, does not react, just watches in an unsettling way that feels too focused to be normal. After everything he has already experienced that night, even something ordinary like a cat feels wrong, leaving viewers questioning whether this is coincidence or if something unseen is continuing to follow him from place to place. In the most normal situation possible, Dave is in the bathroom when he suddenly hears a strange beeping sound coming from downstairs, specifically from the direction of his fridge. Confused and a little uneasy, he heads down the steps toward the basement to check it out, camera in hand. When he gets there, the fridge door is wide open for no clear reason, the beeping echoing in the quiet space as he films it, clearly unsure what he is looking at. He stays on the steps for a while, just watching, like he is waiting for something else to happen.
Right, I just started recording again. Because I'm sat on the toilet and I can hear something beeping downstairs, and the only thing that beeps like that is the fridge. Oh, like if it only beeps like that when the fridge door is open. I don't even want to look. Oh my God. What the f... I'm just gonna sit here. Whoa, did that wire just move? No. Whoa, what the f... What the f... Did you see that? The fuck? Oh no. It's actually moving, man. It looks like a snake or some shit. What the f... Lampshades going as well. They're like moving towards it. Whoa! No! 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 No.
After a few tense seconds, a wire sitting in a bowl on top of the fridge slowly begins to move, sliding upward and extending out of the bowl in a way that looks almost alive, hanging forward like a snake stretching towards something. At the same time, a nearby lampshade starts shifting in its direction, both objects moving toward each other unnaturally until items suddenly spill out from inside the fridge. There is no one else down there, nothing touching them, which makes the entire scene feel less like coincidence and more like something unseen is controlling the space around him. During a canine search of the Watts family home connected to an unpublished crime, officers were carefully moving through the house with their dogs, checking each room methodically while documenting everything on camera. The atmosphere already feels tense, not just because of the case, but because of how quiet and heavy the house seems, like the walls themselves are holding on to something. At one point, they focus on a specific room, guiding the dog inside while the camera keeps rolling. Nothing visibly out of place, just officers doing their job and calling out routine instructions to each other.
Here's a pair of her shorts.
Later, while reviewing the footage, something chilling is discovered. A voice can be heard clearly saying, "This is our home," even though none of the officers reacted at the time, and no one in the room remembers hearing it. The fact that it was only captured on the recording and went unnoticed in the moment makes it feel even more unsettling, as if whatever said it was not meant for them to hear directly. It adds a whole new layer of unease to an already disturbing investigation. But this isn't the only thing they heard that night. They continue the search by moving into the garage area, scanning for anything that could be connected to the case, their eyes passing over shelves, storage boxes, and tools, while the K9 unit sniffs along the ground. Nothing looks obviously disturbed, and the officers speak in low, routine tones, focused entirely on the task at hand, unaware that the camera may be catching more than just the investigation itself.
Yes, very organized, very clean.
During later review of the footage, another unsettling detail surfaces. A faint whisper can be heard, quiet but distinct, saying something told her, the words slipping into the audio without any clear source. Once again, none of the officers in the garage reacted in the moment, and no one recalls hearing a voice while they were inside. The fact that multiple unexplained voices are being picked up only through the recording begins to paint a disturbing pattern, making the house feel less like an empty crime scene and more like a place still occupied by something unseen. For many viewers, moments like this practically confirm the location's haunted reputation, especially when the people present never heard a thing at the time. Chris had brought out a Ouija board the night before with his friend, hoping to finally get some kind of response after everything that had been happening around his house. But the plan fell flat, and the board stayed silent the entire time. Now he was home alone, trying to convince himself that the quiet meant things were settling down. But the house had that strange stillness that always made him feel like something was listening. He was sitting in the living room when a sudden knock echoed through the house, even though no one was at the door, followed by a soft tapping that seemed to come from the room he was in. Take a look.
A lot of you guys are gonna be mad at me, but me and my cousin broke this out. Messed with it last night.
Dad had sex on a Ouija board. Oh boy.
We did it the proper way, though. I know this is a kid's toy, but y'all don't understand the kind of shit y'all's getting into when y'all fuck with this. At least some people don't. I heard it, but I didn't see it. I still hear it. You can hear that, can't you? I can. It sound like tapping. Everybody's like, oh, it's the hutch. It's the hutch. Can you do it again? This is a selfie stick I taped to a tripod.
He stood up and looked around, expecting to find something obvious, but the room was empty and nothing moved except for the faint shift of shadows from the lamp. A whisper slipped through the air behind him, a quiet hello that he didn't even register at first because it sounded too close and too low to make sense. Before he could process the stillness, the camera stand beside him toppled over on its own, hitting the floor with a sudden clatter that made him jump. He picked it up and propped it back into place, trying to laugh it off, but the uneasy feeling lingered like whatever whispered at him was still standing right behind his shoulder. Chris was sitting in his living room later that night, with the TV playing softly beside him and his dog curled up at his feet, trying to enjoy the quiet, even though the house kept giving him that uneasy feeling again. The tapping started up just like before, faint and scattered, and then the door started to vibrate.
Stop chewing on me. I'm sorry, y'all. He's just playing. It may be loud on my phone. I don't know yet. But yeah, we're just chilling. And I swear, up and down, I could have swore the door was vibrating. It's a sliding door. Slides into the wall. There it goes. It's making me shake a little bit. I'm sorry. Devil scared the shit out of me. Turn this to the light.
While he stroked the dog, the door across the room began to vibrate like something on the other side was pushing against it. And this is the moment that he pulled out the camera and kept it aimed straight at the door. The door slid open just a little on its own, then slowly crept even farther, revealing a deeper patch of darkness behind it that made the room feel colder. After a few seconds, it opened all the way, swinging wide until the entire doorway was visible and completely empty. Not a single movement inside. Chris stood up with his dog watching closely, walked toward the room, and flipped the light on. The space was perfectly still, every corner untouched, literally not a soul in sight. The silence felt even heavier than before, like whatever opened the door had stepped back just out of reach the moment he crossed the threshold. We might see more of Chris in future videos. The hospital room looked totally ordinary on camera, just a standard space with a bed in the center, a chair pushed against the wall, a small table with folded blankets, and the usual equipment sitting quietly in standby. Nothing looked out of place, and the frame stayed steady for a while, showing a perfectly normal scene with no movement at all. Out of nowhere, a strange, uneven sound slipped into the audio, almost like a motor trying to start even though nothing in the room was supposed to be running, and the backrest of the bed began lifting on its own in small, awkward jumps. It kept rising higher, little by little, climbing at a slow, steady angle until it was nearly upright at 90 degrees, with no one near the controls and nothing touching it. The rest of the room stayed exactly the same, the chair still, the other equipment untouched, every corner frozen except for that single, impossible movement. When the noise finally stopped, the bed stayed locked in that upright position, leaving the room looking perfectly normal again, except for the one thing that clearly hadn't moved by itself. Sabia had a security camera set up in her kitchen in the Netherlands, just a regular feed showing the table and a few candles sitting untouched near the back wall. Everything looked calm for a while, nothing unusual happening at all except for a few soft orbs drifting across the screen like dust catching the light. Then, without any movement around it, the candle suddenly sparked to life, a quick flash that turned into a steady flame, as if someone had just struck a match right beside it. Nothing else shifted in the room, no breeze touched the wick, and there was no one standing anywhere near it. The flame held perfectly still after forming, burning like it had been lit on purpose, even though Sabia knew the candle had been cold for hours. The rest of the kitchen stayed completely normal on camera, but the sudden light from the wick made the whole space feel different. like something unseen had stepped in just long enough to leave a mark, before disappearing again. A few nights later, Sabia checked another piece of security footage, this time from the sitting room, and the scene looked completely still at first, with the furniture exactly where it always stayed, and the time on the right showing it was practically midnight. The camera picked up a few drifting orbs crossing the frame like pale specks floating through the air, the same kind she had seen in the kitchen earlier, but nothing else seemed off until the corner of the room shifted. A chair that had been pushed neatly into the corner slid forward on its own, moving in one smooth line across the floor, even though no one was near it. More orbs drifted by in clusters right after, almost like the movement stirred something up, and then the painting on the wall began tilting slowly side to side as if an invisible hand was nudging it. The rest of the room stayed perfectly quiet. No shadows moving, no lights flickering, just the chair out of place and the painting swaying gently before settling back into place. Watching it all unfold at midnight made the sitting room feel less like a normal part of the house and more like another spot where something unseen was making itself known piece by piece. Who knows if it continued, because this is the last we heard from Sabia. In the following video, Stephen was washing dishes with the usual evening noises in the background, the sink running, the faint hum of the fridge, and nothing out of the ordinary until something suddenly tapped hard against the middle of his back and bounced onto the floor behind him. The sound made him jerk around with that instant confusion where your brain tries to catch up to what your body already felt, and he had no idea what could have hit him because he knew no one else was supposed to be that close.
Dude, I'm a little wigged out right now. So I was washing dishes and just putting things away, and all of a sudden I feel something hit me in the back and I heard it bounce. Look at this shit. And this ball hits me in the back right shoulder out of nowhere. And what's even crazier is look where Avery's at. Now mind you, I just got done washing the air fryer and was drying it off. Whatever it was had a little bit of force. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Lauren's been in bed for almost 2 days. Like, she gets up for a little bit, but she has not felt good at all. And Avery, let's just face it, if he's not watching his tablet, he's on the Oculus or he's outside. And I knew with it being like 12 o'clock, he's inside. So I have no idea. Now I have a lot of activity. It's not like malicious or anything, but that right there was the first time that's happened. So I don't know, what do y'all think about it?
When he cut to the CCTV footage, the camera clearly showed a small ball shooting across the room and hitting him square in the back before dropping to the floor, and the look on his face as he turned around said everything about how unexpected it was. He switched the feed over to another part of the house where his son Avery was sitting in plain view, completely occupied and nowhere near the kitchen, just to make it absolutely clear it couldn't have been him messing around. The replay showed no one behind Stephen, no shadows moving, no sign of any trick, just the ball launching on its own and hitting him like it had been tossed by someone he couldn't see. Elysia was alone at her storage unit in the middle of the day, filming down the long, narrow corridor that always felt eerie, but she never really questioned it. The overhead lights buzzed softly, reflecting off the rows of identical metal doors, while her voice echoed down as she told us about what was happening. She wasn't expecting anything at all until she started filming, just checking on a few things she had stored away, when something at the very end of the hallway caught her attention.
I'm over here at the storage, and I don't know if it's me, but y'all tell me I don't see that. Oh no. I don't know if it's just a fan like going in and out, but the is that? Duh. I don't. Maybe I'm bugging. No, I know y'all just see that, right? Oh!
A dark shape peeked out from the corner, a black blob leaning just far enough around the wall for its outline to show before sliding back out of sight again. She kept filming, trying to convince herself it was a trick of the light, but the shape returned a second later, then slipped away, then peeked again like it was deliberately watching her from the far end of the corridor. Nothing else in the hallway moved, no doors rattled, no shadows shifted, except for that one shape darting back and forth behind the last wall. The emptiness made the whole place feel colder, and the repeated movements left her with the awful sense that whatever was hiding around that corner wasn't trying to avoid her at all, but was studying her from a distance she couldn't close. In the follow-up clip, Elysia returned to the storage facility in the daytime, hoping the daylight would make the place feel less threatening. But the moment she stepped inside, she realized it didn't help at all. The entire corridor was pitch dark, even though the building should have been fully lit during business hours. She was the only customer there, with only a couple of staff somewhere in the front office, so she decided to walk in anyway.
Alright, y'all. I'm finally back at this place. And you know, I'm in the process of moving in and out. Right now, and nobody here. Like, listen. If I see something again, I'm definitely reporting to the manager to put up that video, because I'm not playing. There's one car over there, but I'm just gonna see, because right now everything's dark. Like inside there, I don't know if you can see it, but it's dark. Like, look how scary that shit is, bro. This is why I hate doing this shit, but I got no choice. Just here. See, like, I know when you go in, it censors somebody that's here. Oh, so. See, that's that shit that be scary. And, like, I'm on the second floor. Okay. I know that this lady probably lives here or she does her business here, but she's here every single day, nonstop. If that chair's not there, she's not here. If the chair's there, she's there. And, yeah, so I don't know if she lives there or does her little business there. Yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't know. Alright. Listen, see, this is my storage. And I'm honestly, I'm like acting like you guys are human, or... Bitch, I might be living here tonight. No. I'm not doing this. And there's no way There's no way I'm in the storage stuck in this shit. Hello! Oh my god.
As soon as she crossed the motion sensor, the overhead lights flickered on one by one, illuminating the long hallway in a way that instantly reminded her of the last video. She went upstairs to the second floor, unlocked her storage unit, and began recording inside while she rearranged a few items. Out of nowhere, the sound of something sliding echoed from directly outside the unit, a long dragging noise like metal or plastic scraping across the floor. Elysia froze, staring toward the open doorway before rushing forward and pulling the metal shutter down as fast as she could, trapping herself safely inside so whatever had caused the noise couldn't get in. She waited quietly, breathing hard, but the sliding sound didn't repeat. Later that day, Staff reviewed the CCTV for her, and the cameras confirmed it. Nobody else had entered that floor at all during the time she was there, making the situation far more unnerving than she wanted to believe. The following video is about Nate, who still hasn't been able to figure out what exactly he's dealing with, or what approach to use to make it stop. Over time, the activity in his house hasn't faded or stabilized. It's escalated. He started waking up with unexplained scratches on his body, hearing footsteps when no one else is home, and noticing areas of the house where his dog refuses to go. But this particular morning was different. Watch closely.
Alright guys. Still kind of shaking a little bit here. So, I was upstairs. It's just me here, me and the dog. Wife left. I was upstairs, brushing my teeth. And from below me, like where my feet were, which would be the kitchen, I was hearing what sounded like knocks, which would be on the kitchen ceiling. Then it stopped. Once it stopped, I figured, okay, no big deal. So I came down. I was getting ready to cut some oranges. Came over to get the one I always use, the knife I always use to cut fruit and vegetables and stuff. And it's not there. So I figured, oh, it must be dirty. No. Kind of stood for a minute, and then like, what the f on here? Like, in this house. This is a different level. This is not right. This is not. This is not okay. This is not okay. It's in there pretty. So I'm guessing that was the sound I was hearing from below my feet. Because the bathroom is right on the other side of this, so that's how my morning started. Just wanted some oranges.
Objects found in positions like this, especially heavy or sharp objects, are often associated with aggressive poltergeist activity, where force and intent seem to be involved. This isn't something falling, tipping, or sliding. Something had to exert pressure to get it there. And when Nate says, "This is not okay," there's something else. A faint voice responding. It's difficult to make out, but undeniably there. Almost as if whatever caused this is aware it's been noticed. Another morning, Nate is home alone when he notices something peeking out from his basement. At first, he tries to come up with logical reasons: shadows, lighting, his eyes adjusting. But the sense of being watched didn't go away. Eventually, he grabbed his camera, and here's what he caught.
Guys, check it out. Something was peeking. Right out. From the basement. I wanted to see if we can catch it. The end of it. But it was like right by the bed. What the? This has been the third morning in a row. Like clockwork. I might have to look back, but it might be around the same times as well. I don't understand. There's nothing. And then I was hearing steps coming down those stairs, but there's nothing. guys. I don't know, guys. Maybe we can try. What was that?
For many viewers, the most unsettling part isn't even the shape peeking from the basement, it's the whispering. Some people believe they can hear words being formed, while others say it sounds like incoherent murmuring. What makes this harder to dismiss is Nate's claim that this hasn't been a one-time occurrence. He says it's been happening almost every morning, always from the same spot, as if something is watching and waiting. After several people weighed in, many pointed out a recurring detail in Nate's updates. His house is almost always dark, and some believe that prolonged darkness, combined with emotional stress and fear, can intensify paranormal activity, creating an environment where whatever is present feels undisturbed, comfortable, or even encouraged. Then Nate shared another update, one that only made the situation more mysterious. Listen carefully.
I want to share a little update on the activity and something that happened last night. I'm only putting this out there to maybe get some advice or answers, or if anybody has experienced something like this. So I was in a dream. I was dreaming that I was in my house and something had come and woken me up and told me to follow it downstairs. It needed to show me something. So I followed it downstairs, but the whole time my eyes couldn't adjust to what I was following. It was just a figure. Couldn't tell if it was male or female. It was shorter than me. I'm 6 feet. It was shorter than me. That's all I can make out. It was like a, not a mist, but it was like not a full formed shape, if that makes any sense. But it's a dream, so I figured, anyways, I follow it downstairs into the middle of the dining room, and it just lifts up and points its arm towards the basement. I didn't know what it was trying to tell me, but then instantly there was this loud wake up, but it didn't come from the figure. I immediately woke up, but when I woke up, I was standing in my dining room. I have never, ever had an issue of sleepwalking. Never in my life, at least that I know of, or remember, or have ever been told that I sleepwalk. So, I don't know if it was a dream. I don't know if it was a lucid dream. I don't know if I was sleepwalking. But has anybody ever experienced something like this? Because I am at a loss what it means. If there's a reason behind it.
He believes that whatever woke him may have been a warning, possibly his spirit guides, stopping him from going into the basement. From his perspective, the whispers, the peeking, and the activity all seem like attempts to lure him closer to whatever is down there. But others see it completely differently. Some believe the voice that woke him wasn't protecting him at all, but guiding him. That whatever is happening in the basement holds the answers to what he's been experiencing, and whatever else is in the house doesn't want him finding out. That the whispers, distractions, and fear are meant to keep him away. So now the question is, was Nate being warned, or was he being invited? And if something does want him in that basement, the real question is why? I'd love to hear your thoughts. In this next video, Kyle found an abandoned house and decided to do a quick walkthrough, filming the inside to show his partner later. He went in expecting the usual things explorers look for: scattered belongings, traces of past lives, maybe old furniture frozen in time, but what he captured turned out to be something very different. Have a look. Just in case you missed it, within the first few seconds of the video, there are several details that immediately stand out. A black cat is seen inside the abandoned house, which is strange on its own, considering how rarely animals stay inside unstable, empty structures for long. In medieval European folklore, black cats were believed to be familiars, supernatural beings or animal-shaped entities said to assist in dark practices. They weren't viewed as ordinary animals, but as extensions of something else, something unseen. In other cultures, black cats were considered omens of death. One 16th century Italian superstition even claimed that if a black cat lay on a sick person's bed, death would soon follow. Because of these beliefs, the presence of a black cat in an already badly abandoned, decaying structure has long been associated with places thought to be spiritually active. Almost immediately after he saw the black cat, a door was shaking violently, even though no one else was inside the building. There's no visible draft, no footsteps, no movement nearby that would explain it. On top of that, faint orbs drift through the frame, and an odd sound can be heard in the background. But one of the most unsettling details is something Kyle himself didn't even notice at the time. What's unsettling is how layered the activity feels. The cat, the shaking door, the orbs, and the sound. None of them happen in isolation, and together they create the sense that Kyle may not have been as alone as he thought. But it's not just his experiences at abandoned places that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. For context, Kyle is someone who frequently explores abandoned places, and his partner happens to collect strange dolls. So when he shared what things look like at home, many viewers weren't surprised, but they were still disturbed. Watch this.
Just got home from work. This needs to stop. I need help, please. Going to explore it later.
When she got home, the door was rattling like someone was trying to get out, but the moment she entered, there's no one there, and the doll by the window was no longer there. No one entered the room, no one touched it, it was simply gone. Some viewers believe the activity from the abandoned house may have followed him home, not necessarily attached to him, but drawn to familiar objects, especially dolls, which are often believed to act as conduits or focal points for paranormal energy. Others think it's something that was already present in their home, and that Kyle's exploration may have stirred it up. According to Kyle and his partner, they don't feel threatened by whatever is happening. They describe it as more of an annoyance than anything else. Objects moving, small disturbances, things being misplaced and reappearing. Nothing violent or aggressive, but that's where many people begin to worry. because paranormal activity rarely stays the same forever. What starts as harmless or playful behavior can escalate over time, especially if it's being acknowledged, recorded, or unintentionally encouraged. The fact that they don't feel threatened now doesn't necessarily mean it will always stay that way. So is this something that's simply coexisting with them, or is it still figuring out how far it can go? I'll leave you to be the judge on this one. Now in this next clip, Nick has been documenting the strange activity that's been following him, not just at home, but at work. At his store, Nick installed security cameras everywhere, and according to him, there are very few nights where nothing strange happens. Chairs shift on their own, objects fall over, no matter how carefully they're placed. Items that were stable moments earlier suddenly end up on the floor. And there have even been times when he's returned to the store only to find windows cracked, despite no signs of forced entry. And when he gets home, it doesn't stop. Watch this.
Is there anyone here that can give me a sign? And something just fell off the counter, right in front of my face. Holy shit! Okay, is there anyone here? Yay, that was fun. Love this room. Just again, this is... Oh my god, my camera won't even focus. Hello? Can you use the dream catch? Okay, my camera's not even focusing. This is so weird. Can you use the dream catcher again to try to communicate with me, please? Okay. I think it made a sound out here again. Hello?
In this video, Nick asks for a sign, and almost immediately, objects begin falling. While some viewers see this as confirmation of paranormal activity, others warn that asking for signs isn't always a good idea. On one hand, some believe that spirits responding to direct questions may indicate intelligence or awareness, possibly a presence trying to communicate. Especially when the response is immediate, it can feel like validation that someone or something is listening. But on the other hand, many people argue that inviting responses, even unintentionally, can escalate activity. Asking for signs is often seen as giving permission, opening a door, rather than simply observing what's already there. And once something realizes it's being acknowledged, the activity can increase in both frequency and intensity. Another detail viewers couldn't ignore is the presence of several floating orbs throughout the footage. While skeptics argue these could be dust or insects reflecting light, others point out that the orbs appear at moments of heightened activity, drifting, changing direction, and lingering in ways that don't seem random. Because the activity follows Nick from place to place, many people believe Nick himself may be the focal point. Not the house, not the store, but him. Some say he could be unknowingly carrying something attached to him. Others take it a step further, suggesting the presence may be something darker, possibly even demonic, feeding off attention or fear. Nick, clearly unsettled, has been asking for advice on how to make it stop. Take a look at the security footage from his store. This footage only strengthened the theory that whatever is causing the disturbances at both locations is attached to Nick. The activity mirrors what happens at his home. Objects moving without explanation, sudden shifts in the environment, and no visible cause. The consistency between both locations makes it harder to argue coincidence or environmental factors. If the house were haunted, the store wouldn't be affected. If the store were the problem, the activity wouldn't follow him home. That's what makes this case so unsettling. It suggests something mobile, something that isn't bound by walls or locations, something that goes where he goes. And until Nick shares more updates or finds a way to stop what's happening, this case remains a mystery. But what you think? Is Nick haunted, or is he being followed? In the following piece of footage, taken from a toddler monitor late at night, a parent captures something that still hasn't been explained. The camera is pointed directly at the crib, showing a close-up of their toddler sleeping peacefully. Nothing unusual at first. The room is dim, lit only by the soft glow of the baby cam, and the house is completely quiet.
What the f is it? That's so weird. Well, I'll kill you, son of a.
If you look closely, right beside the toddler, another head can clearly be seen resting in the crib. It looks like a second child, partially obscured, facing the camera. Moments later, the figure slightly shifts its small hand as it moves, just enough to confirm it isn't a shadow or camera glitch. The man watching the monitor panics and immediately runs toward the bedroom, still filming as he calls out. When he reaches the crib, there's nothing there at all. The room is dark, the toddler is alone, and there's no possible way another child could have been there unnoticed. After the recording ends, he insists he checked every corner of the room and the house, but found no sign of anyone else. The footage has since got many views, with many people questioning whether the camera picked up a glitch, a reflection, or something far more unsettling watching over the child that night. Andre, a young man living alone, explained that strange noises around his house were never something he really paid attention to, until one night when things escalated fast. He was sitting at his keyboard, casually practicing an impressive piece, completely focused, when a sudden clattering sound cuts through the music. He stops playing instantly, and then strange things start to happen.
Hallo?
The sound clearly didn't come from the keyboard, so he sets it down and walks into the kitchen to investigate. On the floor, a pillow from the living room is lying awkwardly, along with several other items that look like they've been knocked down all at once. As he starts picking them up, something happens behind him. A loud sliding noise echoes from the other room, and at the same time, a few keys on his keyboard press themselves, playing random notes with no one touching it. Andre slowly turns back toward the keyboard, his breathing getting heavier as he realizes the mess has spread. The trash bin has completely tipped over, spilling everything across the floor. Then it gets worse. From the living room, a sound that almost resembles a woman's voice can be heard, faint but distinct, followed by the TV turning itself on. The screen glitches with static, lagging unnaturally, before suddenly shutting off on its own. Just seconds later, the door near Andre slams violently, making him jump as the footage cuts out. Whatever caused that surge of activity came on all at once, and judging by his panic, it was the last thing he expected when he sat down to play music. Late one night, Jake was filming when he ran into his sister's bedroom holding a bottle of hot sauce, clearly not expecting anything unusual to happen. The camera swings toward the bed as he laughs, but his tone changes almost immediately when something strange catches his eye. Sitting right beside his sister is a teddy bear, and as soon as he speaks, it slowly tips over on its own. Jake reacts first, telling her the teddy just fell, but she barely looks up and calmly asks, "What?" as if nothing happened. That's when something crazy happens though. Take a look.
Alright, bottle of hot sauce, or say something embarrassing. Bottle of the bear just moved.
What?
Oh my god!
That's when things escalate fast. Without anyone touching it, the teddy suddenly jerks and slides unnaturally toward the middle of the bed. It doesn't fall naturally or roll. It looks pushed, almost like something invisible forced it forward in a single, deliberate movement. The shift is quick, aggressive, and completely out of place. Both of them instantly panic, yelling as Jake pulls the camera back. There's no laughter anymore, no explanation offered, just raw fear. They scramble off the bed and run out of the room as the footage cuts abruptly. Afterward, viewers pointed out how unnatural the movement was, especially compared to the first fall. Jake later claimed neither of them touched the teddy, and that nothing like that had ever happened in that room before, making this clip one of the most unsettling moments they've ever caught on camera. There's a lot of scary things you can find in your garden, but this exceeds all of them. Joseph was outside late at night, standing in his backyard and filming because he said something had been watching him from the far edge of the property for several nights in a row. At first, it's hard to make out what he's talking about, just trees in the distance, but his breathing already sounds tense, like he knows exactly where to point the camera. Eventually, he zooms in on it and passes the fear to us all.
Look, dude, she couldn't find her way over there, so now she's over here. She's back in here trying to find a way into my property. You see her? Look at that face. Oh my god. It's right there staring at me. Dude, how scary is that shit? Oh my god, dude. What the f? She's crawling through all this shit, bro.
As the footage continues, a pale, unnaturally still face becomes visible deep in the garden, staring directly toward him without moving. It doesn't blink, doesn't shift, just stays there in a way that feels completely wrong. Halfway through the clip, a faint glowing orb appears near the face and drifts outward, almost as if it's coming from it. Joseph reacts immediately, stepping back and narrating in disbelief, sounding more exhausted than surprised, like this isn't the first time it's happened. He doesn't chase it or get closer. He just keeps filming, clearly shaken. After posting the video, Joseph explained that the face has appeared multiple times in the opposite end of the garden, always watching, never approaching. Some people say it could be a trick of the light or an animal, but the consistency of the face, the orb, and Joseph's reaction make this one hard to brush off. Whatever was out there didn't seem lost. It seemed like it knew exactly where it was and what fear it was instilling. In this next story, a man who had been working the night shift at a hotel for several years explains the creepiest thing that's ever happened to him on the job. He says he'd never experienced anything paranormal there before, which is why this moment completely shook him.
So I've been working at a hotel for, a couple years now. And I've never had anything like this happen. And I'm borderline freaked out, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm sitting down here at the front desk, right? And I'm on the computer and I'm just typing away. Phone rings. I don't look at the phone. I just answer it. And, I say my whole little spiel or whatever. And it's just silent. The phone is just silent. After about, 3 or 4 seconds, I say hello again. Nothing. And right before I go to hang up, it sounds like I'm hearing somebody just like breathing on the other line. I just hang up and I'm like, okay, whatever. I ain't thinking twice about it. But then I go and look at the caller ID and let me show y'all something. All right. That's the room that called. Okay. Peep that. 505. Now let me show y'all something. I'm gonna go over here to the elevator so y'all know I'm not bullshitting. And I'm gonna turn the camera around. How many floors do you see here? Because I'm pretty sure we don't have a room 505 nor 5th floor. This would be the night I quit. I don't do that shit. I don't do that shit.
His story goes like this. He's sitting alone at the front desk late at night, typing away on the computer, when the phone suddenly rings. He answers it normally, but on the other end there's nothing, just silence. After a few seconds, he says hello again, assuming it might be a bad connection, but there's still no response. Just as he's about to hang up, he hears something that makes his stomach drop. Slow, heavy breathing coming through the receiver. Without thinking, he hangs up immediately and checks the caller ID, expecting to see a guest room number. Instead, it says the call came from room 505. Confused and unsettled, he grabs his phone and walks over to the elevator to prove to himself it's nothing. He shows the buttons clearly on camera, and there is no 5th floor at all. The hotel doesn't even have a room 505. The realization hits him in real time, and you can hear his voice change as it sinks in that whatever was breathing on the other end of the line didn't come from anywhere that should exist. Who knows what caused this? Two friends were exploring an abandoned flat complex late at night, filming as they moved through the outside area to document the place for themselves. The building had been empty for years, with broken windows, peeling paint, and an eerie silence that made every footstep echo. As they were scanning the upper floors from the outside with a flashlight, one of them, a guy named James, suddenly stopped. He pointed the camera toward a very specific window, saying something had moved.
Just watch this.
Isn't it? Future in hand.
430 abandoned flats, and there is something in the window.
Open. Yo. You see movement then? Move the light. Yo. What the fuck is that? Yo.
The curtains inside that flat were moving slowly, swaying back and forth even though there was no wind, and every other window in the building was completely still. James zoomed in, trying to get a clearer look, when an unnerving face suddenly appeared behind the glass. It didn't move like a normal person stepping forward. It was already there, pale and distorted, staring straight back at them from the darkness. The two friends froze, in disbelief, as the face lingered for a split second before fading back into the shadows and disappearing entirely. After that, the curtain stopped moving. James later emphasized that there was no one else in the complex, and no way anyone could have known exactly where they were standing. Against their better judgment, they decided to go inside the building to see if there was any chance someone else was actually there. The moment they stepped into the block, it was clear the place hadn't been touched in years. Random stuff was scattered everywhere, rubbish piled up in corners, and the air felt stale and heavy. They slowly made their way toward the flat they'd been filming from outside, keeping the camera rolling the entire time.
We both go inside the building block to see who was in the window. What happens when we get in is beyond strange.
Hello?
Just watch.
Which one is it? Check this. I can hear somebody. You know, there's dinging and beeping and... What's that window there? Yo. Hello? Isn't it? Hello? Yo! Who the fuck is it?
To be continued.
As they reach the room they believe the face came from, the guy behind the camera pauses and says he can hear something moving nearby. The area itself looks empty of life, stripped bare apart from debris on the floor. Then suddenly, a sharp metallic sound rings out, like a metal pin or small object dropping onto concrete. They both freeze. A few seconds later, it happens again, this time louder and closer, echoing down the corridor. Their tone changes instantly, voices dropping as they scan the room and nearby hallways, but there's nothing and no one in sight. James calls out a hesitant hello, his voice bouncing off the empty walls. Almost immediately after, another noise answers back from somewhere deeper in the building, but the source stays completely hidden. Whatever they saw in that window didn't stay behind the glass, and at that point, the exploration stopped feeling like curiosity and started feeling like they weren't welcome there at all. Subscribe as this exploration may continue in a future video.